2018, and welcome into another episode of the Canalta Hotel's AJHL Coaches Show from the Sherwood Park Arena. I'm Dave Dawson. Pleased to be joined today by Andrew Milne, the head coach and general manager of the Canmore Eagles. Andrew, thanks for joining us today. First of all, how would you kind of describe this chapter, the 2018-19 Canmore Eagles?
Well, it's been an interesting one. I mean, I think we're a fun, talented hockey team. I think it's enjoyable to watch us play. We play with pace. We play with speed. You know, we've got some guys that can score and are fun to watch. And I think, you know, for a fan of hockey, we'd be a team that I think would play the way the fans enjoy. I mean, everybody wants to see some goal scoring, and fortunately, we've been able to do that. We've had some struggles on our back end, you know, with maybe giving up a few too many, but it's been exciting hockey, and I think it's a fast-paced, entertaining game.
All right, so since it is the coach's show, we'll kind of keep it specific to yourself as a coach. How would you describe yourself as the head coach of the team?
Describe myself. That's interesting. I think, you know, I'd be what the terminology probably is a player's coach. I think I can relate to the guys fairly well. I like to keep things lighthearted in the dressing room. I think if we're not having fun, we're not going to have any success at all. So we like to have fun, but on a serious note, I think the intensity and the commitment to being intense has to come from the coach and understanding what our expectations are. And I think I'm a communicator. I think I can deliver messages clearly to our guys and have them relate to what they need to do to be successful. And, you know, I think at the end of the day, these kids are all coachable kids on our club this year. You know, it makes it fun for us as coaches to get to coach coachable hockey players and makes our job that much easier.
Not to date this at all, but it is hometown hockey weekend at the Sherwood Park Arena, and yourself, you were a part of that hometown hockey broadcast last year and kind of told a bit of a story of how you got into coaching. Would maybe for those who aren't familiar, would you care to share that, how you kind of got pushed into that spot?
Yeah, well, I would think like most coaches, I got pushed in because I wasn't a good enough hockey player. And I think, you know, and Don Mcclelland was a big mentor of mine in the years when I played in my junior years. You know, he made it pretty clear to me that I probably wasn't going to go on and excel as a player, so I should get into the coaching game. And so I did that at a pretty young age with the Swift Current Broncos. At 19, I started working with Todd and his coaching staff and his scouting staff. And then into my 20-year-old year, I did the same thing. And so it sort of evolved into a bit of a passion to stay in the game, but also an understanding that, you know, with Todd's sort of guidance and help that year, I was able to sort of get into a bit of a role with coaching and found a love for it and a passion for it and a desire to be a part of that. And it's not something I don't think that's fit for everybody, but you do see a lot of players that maybe weren't the best skilled players on the ice, and the best players get into coaching.
How beneficial has that been for you? I know there are a number of people, especially when someone has been in a long time coaching spot like yourself, who do intersect with some of those guys at the national level. How beneficial has that been for you, that relationship with Don Mcclelland?
Well, that's huge. I mean, just a vote of confidence at times. I think as a coach, you know, you're always competing against your peers, and it's difficult at times to have communication back and forth with them as to, you know, what's giving you success and what you're failing with, and you know, to bounce ideas off guys is a competitive thing, and so, you know, just to have that ability to communicate some stuff with Todd over time has been outstanding, and it's really just given a vote of confidence for us as for myself as a coach, and then throughout our coaching staff. I think, you know, you look at a mentorship and a role model, and Todd would have the same sort of group in his life, and I think that's important that as coaches we can give back to younger coaches and start to help out.
Now, when you get into coaching, you mentioned 19, 20 years old. How do you develop an identity as a coach? I've spoken past episodes, I'm a fan of mentorship at any level, in any aspect of life. Is that a little bit of coaches that have done you well and not so well, and maybe something to do with potentially how you wish you would have been coached as a young player? How do you develop your own identity as a coach? Yeah,
I think you're exactly right there. I think every opportunity is a learning opportunity. Sometimes from coaches you learn what you would do. Sometimes from coaches you learn what you wouldn't do. And I think, you know, I've been fortunate in my time. I played for some really good coaches in Mike Babcock, Don Mcclelland, Dean Clark, you know, guys that all had successful careers that have been moved on. And, you know, I got to work with Gord Thibodeau my first year in the junior A ranks, and then Mark Hollick. And so as you develop relationships with these guys and understand what they're all about, I think, you know, over time you just kind of create your own identity, the own personality you have and the own person you are. But utilizing some of those past experiences is extremely important, and I think it helps mold us and shape us. And you know, at a young age, I think you can learn, you know, what you would have liked as a player and how you would have liked coaches to communicate things to you. You know, obviously we're changing that generationally with the way it is right now, but to sort of keep up to speed with that communication standpoint and how players relate, and then utilizing, you know, the mentorship from the guys that have been there before you and showed you really, you know, what it might be like to coach and what you might need to do.
How have you found that, and have you seen maybe a shift in your coaching style over the years, just with the generation now, and I guess the millennials, do you feel like sometimes you need to approach things differently than you normally would have?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, where we're going, the direction of where we're going right now, and in this day and age with the kids and how their upbringing is and then how we're approaching them is completely changed. I mean, the majority of our coaching now is done online, the TV, internet, the video. We do a lot of that, and players like to see themselves and they like to relate to it once they've seen it. And so, I think with the delivering of messages at times, these kids are put under a lot of pressure, I think, from home life a lot when it comes to hockey and their peer groups. And so, when they get into that hockey environment, I think first and foremost, these kids need to take a deep breath and relax and just have fun playing the game. I mean, I said it earlier, if you're not having fun doing what you're doing, then you're never going to be successful. And so from our group, we like to encourage our guys to have fun, but find that balance between having fun and being professional in their approach to the game. And I think kids, once they learn that balance, that work-life balance relationship, they start to excel in the sport.
Well, of the 16 teams in the Alberta Junior Hockey League, Canmore itself is, I would say, maybe a bit of an anomaly, and with Drumheller in there as well. There's some beautiful cities in our province, but Canmore in itself a great region. Do you find that just with being in that mountain range allows your program to get out there and have a little more fun and to create some opportunities for the guys to do some pretty exciting things outside of hockey?
Well, we try to use the advantage of what we have around us, absolutely. I mean, we're fortunate to live in such a great place, and there's so many, quality athletes in our area, too. I mean, cross-country skiing is something that, we get our guys out to do, whether it's dog sledding or ice climbing or hiking. We get out in the community as much as we can and in the mountain ranges and try to just get out and explore where we're at. And, our guys have been fortunate to get to do some pretty cool things with the location of where we're at. We've got 3 Saskatchewan kids on our team who are pretty amazed with the mountains every day. And, we just currently got a big snowfall, and I think the guys are looking forward to that and getting out and enjoying that. But it is a great place to live and an opportunity for these young kids to get to experience, a little bit different of a lifestyle in Canmore and experience everything that the mountains have to offer.
Now, you spoke a little bit about having fun. If you're not having fun, it's a component of playing. How do you measure success yourself as a coach? I know champions, trophies, titles, things like that in the broad spectrum. People, when you play sports, you want to win those. How do you measure success for yourself, and how do you impart that message into your players and what success should be for them?
Well, I think you touched on it. Success at our level is measured by wins and losses, and we know that. And everybody here that is coaching is competitive. They want to win. They do not want to lose. You don't like losing. They don't enjoy losing. Everybody wants to win. So with the measure of success being that, it's oftentimes we lose sight of the fact that, in my opinion, we're creating quality individuals here as well. And, if I can be a part of development of a good, active member of society as we move forward, wherever that may be in Canmore or whatever community they live in, I think we're fortunate to have a board of directors and a president that, at the top that looks at us very similar and says, listen, at the end of the day, we want to win. We know we do, and that's the goal, that's the idea. But we also know that we need to develop good people, and we want to develop good hockey players, but we also want to develop good people and people that could be active in society and people that are going to, go on and be successful in whatever it is they do. So at the end of the day, the wins and losses are great, but the overall goal here is to, have quality individuals leaving our program, and when they come to our program, hopefully they leave better.
Well, you're involved with a program called Pinnacle. If you would maybe just kind of invite the viewers into what that looks like, and I understand there is quite a component to making people better and introducing them to the sport of hockey. Yeah,
it's quite interesting. In Canmore, obviously, we have such a tourism destination, and there is just thousands and thousands and thousands of tourists that come through the valley. And so we saw an opportunity here to sort of teach people a little bit more of the grassroots game. And so we, with Pinnacle Hockey, we've evolved into a tourism company essentially. And, what we do with that is we bring people in that have never seen hockey or they know a little bit about it because they're coming to Canada and they've done some research, but they don't just quite know why the Canadians are so crazy and passionate about this sport. And so we like to take them from a sort of 0 to 60 element of hockey and make them realize, they get to see firsthand what the game's all about. We give them a little presentation on some of the history and the culture and the superstition about the game. And then we actually dress them in equipment and take them on the ice and give them that hockey experience. So it's super unique. It's something that isn't being done anywhere else in the world. We're fortunate to have the tourism market right in Canmore, and then with our facility having ice year round, we like to give people that hockey experience. And I think when you look at it from a tourist perspective, they are so excited and enthralled by our sport and our game, and that for them to have the opportunity to get on the ice and actually try it is it's a bucket list item.
Definitely. Well, where you sound like you're pretty involved in development of people, and obviously with the general manager and the head coach role, you're always around people. Yourself as a person, where does your inspiration for hockey and for people and for life come from, and how do you continually develop personally better day by day?
Well, I think from the game of hockey, it's the passion to watch other people succeed, and I love watching the players have success. And I always refer to that aha moment where they figure it out and they say, "Geez, that was something that I was taught by my coach, and I figured it out." And you can see that, and when they're having success, and the smile that it brings to them, and the excitement they have to play the game at a certain level. And the reality is that these players are going to have lengthy junior careers, but potentially not be having lengthy hockey careers. So if we can encourage them to not only enjoy the game of hockey, but enjoy the idea of the culture behind the game of hockey, and the passion, the friendships, the camaraderie, and the other things that come with the game of hockey, I think that's important as well. And if we can, from our organizational standpoint, we can just bring people together and have the understanding that, we do want to win, and that's sort of where it's at. And if that happens, great. And if it doesn't, we know there's a lot of little wins out there that we can cherish and that we can look at. And hockey's such a big part of our culture here. You're going to see it this weekend with hometown hockey and just how it brings people together, and the joint communication, the passion, and the energy. And I love having a conversation with everybody of all ages about the game of hockey, and talking about not only what it does on the ice, but what it does off the ice, and bringing people together. And I think that's important. And I love being able to take a tourist who's never seen the game of hockey, is so scared or intimidated or not sure, to take them through that bucket list item, and to have somebody get that experience that we love and we're so passionate about here in Canada. It's extremely exciting for us, and it's fun.
All right, one final one for you. You've obviously been coaching this team for 10 into 11th year, I believe, now with the Canmore Eagles. Is there a player maybe in years past that has kind of reached out to you who's having a little bit of success at the next level and said, "You know what, you've really made a difference in my life. Thanks so much." And have you been able to interact, maybe a player or two you can think of?
Well, I think one of the players that sticks out of my mind is Sam Britton, who was playing with the Florida Panthers. He's a goaltender that played for us, and Sam's come back to work our hockey school every year. He's just a class individual, and when you look at a young player like Sam, when he came into us at 17, he was a child, and he left, went off to Denver, and has had all these life experiences of signing and playing in the NHL, and the stuff Sam does as a human being. I mean, the reason he played in the NHL is because of the type of character he has and the type of person he is, and you can see that when he comes back to Canmore every year and is a part of our hockey program. And I mean, there's a lot of great players that have played for us over the years, and quality individuals. I mean, you could go on forever about the type of individuals. And as I've been here long enough, I've started to remember some of the guys that are have played for me that are now involved in the game of hockey. Braden Leth, who was a 20-year-old my first year, actually stayed in Canmore, married a Canmore girl. He coaches a minor hockey team in town, and he's giving back to the community, and it's great to see him on the ice giving back to the game and passionate about it. And he's at that age now where I'm starting to see some of those guys, and but it's rewarding to see them, and it's rewarding to see a guy like Braden Leth giving back to the game of hockey.
All right, well, Andrew, really appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining us today, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for joining us. Thank you as well for joining us in this episode of the Canalta Hotel's AJHL Coaches Show. We'll see you next time.